saw the offensive line issues that make it harder for Mahomes to buy time and for the run game to exist. Special teams and penalties tightened the screws in moments when you needed a bit of breathing room. Those small things add up to a season that feels like it's slipping away. Before we jump into solutions, I want to hear from you. Poll: is the Chiefs' season over? Yes? No? Drop your vote and one short reason in the comments. I'll read a few in the next chapter. And hey, if you're finding this breakdown useful, hit the like button and subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers. That helps the channel keep producing daily Chiefs content just like this. In the next section, we'll dig into the clearest, most urgent problem: the offensive line and the injury list. That's the concrete issue you can point to when people say, "Why are the Chiefs struggling?" It's not just a feeling. It's the players missing in front of Mahomes, and it's the domino effect that leads to sacks, hurried throws, and an offense that can't consistently finish drives. The clearest, most tangible reason this season suddenly feels so precarious is sitting right in front of Patrick Mahomes every snap: the offensive line. You heard it in the Thanksgiving breakdown. Josh Simmons, Trey Smith, and Jawan Taylor all dealing with injuries. And when your line is missing pieces, everything else unravels. Protection breaks down. The pocket collapses sooner, and what used to be a clean window for Mahomes becomes a handful of hurried throws and pressure-driven mistakes. That pressure didn't just cost a few yards, it forced the kind of timing and rhythm issues that turn third down chances into punts and tight games into losses. On top of that, you saw the domino effects: key drops on third down, Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, penalties at drive-killer moments, and special teams that aren't flipping field position back in your favor. The Thanksgiving tape showed all of it at once: a run game that couldn't consistently move the chains, an offensive line that couldn't sustain blocks long enough for plays to develop, and an offense that kept needing Mahomes to conjure hero plays instead of operating efficiently. Defensively, the Chiefs have also struggled to generate pressure without sending extra rushers. The team went multiple quarters without a sack, and when you rely on blitzes to create pressure, that puts more stress on the secondary and invites big plays. None of this is guesswork. It's visible on the film: hurried throws, late hits, and drives ending on penalties or drops. So what does that mean for the next few weeks? First, the coaching staff has to scheme around the losses up front: quicker passes, more rollouts, max protection on critical downs, and smarter play selection to protect Mahomes from unnecessary hits. Second, depth matters more than ever. Which backups you trust at guard or tackle will decide whether you're a competitive team in January or an also-ran. Third, special teams and penalty discipline suddenly become season-defining. When you don't have a margin on offense, you can't afford self-inflicted wounds in penalties or poor returns. I want to hear from you. Quick comment prompt: which injured Chief concerns you most right now? The O-line or a skill position player? One sentence only. And while you type that, do the channel a favor. Hit like and subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers so we can keep breaking this down every day. Next, I'll move into the big picture roster and coaching questions everyone's asking: tanking, draft capital, and whether the staff has actually been figured out. Now we get to the questions that sting the most. Has the coaching staff been figured out, and what should the organization do about the roster? You heard the hot takes in that clip. Some want to bench the stars and chase draft capital. Others expect Andy Reid to fight until the last whistle. Here's the cold read: benching Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce or Chris Jones is dramatic and short-term obvious, but it's not as simple as bench Dacian better draft pick. First, the Chiefs don't have unlimited draft currency. The franchise has traded and invested heavily in recent off-seasons to win now. Flipping the switch to tank would require assets you may not actually have, and the payoff is uncertain. Second, benching elite leaders has cultural consequences. Mahomes, Kelce, and Jones aren't just top players. They're the heartbeat of the locker room. Removing them sends a message to the roster and to fans that the organization has conceded, and Andy Reid's history suggests he's far more likely to try to protect the team's identity than to wave a white flag publicly. Third, from a competitive angle, playing backups to boost a draft slot assumes backups can't contribute meaningfully or get injured less, both risky bets. So the push to bench stars is understandable emotionally, and it makes sense for fans who want a better draft position. But it's politically and practically complicated inside a franchise built on championship windows. That said, there are real, sensible middle ground moves the staff and front office can make without tanking. Schematically, you can simplify the playbook, prioritize quicker reads and max protection calls, and game manage to limit Mahomes' exposure while still competing. Personnel-wise, the focus should be on affordable upgrades that deliver immediate help, an edge rusher who pressures, the quarterback without constant blitzing, a starting quality interior lineman to stabilize the pocket, and special teams work to stop giving away field position. Trading is an option, but remember, you trade future picks or current depth for immediate help. If you trade away future draft capital to chase a win-now edge rusher, you've essentially doubled down on staying in the present, which might be exactly the organization's preferred calculus. Finally, evaluate coaching accountability and flexibility. If opponents have indeed figured out the offense, adjustments are required, not just personnel changes, but schematic evolution. That means play calling that uses motion, quicker tempo changes, and ways to get the ball into playmakers' hands before the pocket collapses. You should also consider how the front office balances long-term roster construction against the immediate desire to salvage the year. Keep fighting, but plan contingency moves for the off-season. Quick interaction. For this chapter, would you bench Mahomes if the Chiefs are effectively eliminated? Yes, no. Tell us one sentence why. Drop that in the comments. And if you're enjoying this breakdown and want more daily Chiefs analysis, smash the like button and subscribe to help us hit 6,000 subscribers. It really helps the channel keep bringing you the takes. Next up, in Chapter 4, I'll map short-term fixes for the rest of the season and long-term priorities for the off-season and draft, practical steps. Brett Veach and the staff should consider if they want to salvage 2025 or reset for 2026. Here's where the conversation gets practical. Fans want answers, the locker room wants direction, and the front office wants a path forward that doesn't burn the entire house down. So let's break this into two lanes. What Kansas City can realistically fix right now, and what absolutely must be addressed once the season ends. Short-term fixes. Rest of 2025 season. The biggest immediate priority is protecting Patrick Mahomes without asking him to play superhero every snap. That starts with scheme, not just personnel. Compress the playbook. Force defenses to defend the width of the field, not the depth. That means more quick game concepts, more designed rollouts, and more two tight end looks to stabilize the edges. We saw in the Thanksgiving film that when Mahomes hits his back foot and throws on schedule, the offense still functions. But when the staff asks for longer developing routes behind a beat-up offensive line, everything collapses. Second, stop the self-inflicted wounds. Penalties, drops on third down, and special teams errors have destroyed field position and momentum. That sounds cliche, but on this particular roster, cleaning up discipline is the difference between giving Mahomes a short field or burying him behind poor protection. A cleaner game buys the offense breathing room and buys the defense more chances to play downhill. Third, create a defensive identity that doesn't depend on constant blitzing. The Cowboys game exposed it. When Kansas City can't generate pressure with the front four, opponents can isolate the secondary and attack leverage. The quickest temporary fix is rotational aggression. Change which downs you blitz, disguise pre-snap looks, and force quarterbacks to hesitate for even half a second. That's the half second your depleted O-line can't give Mahomes, but your defense can create for itself. Long-term priorities. offseason and draft. When the season ends, Brett Veach has two mega projects to start immediately. The first is rebuilding the trenches. You cannot run a modern NFL offense with uncertainty at tackle and guard, and the injuries this year revealed just how thin the depth chart had become. Expect the Chiefs to evaluate free agent veterans and at least one premium draft pick for the offensive line. The goal isn't just talent, it's durability, stability, and a unit that lets Mahomes play efficient, not desperate. Second, Kansas City needs a pass rusher opposite its lead guy, someone who consistently wins without requiring exotic blitz packages. Every great Chiefs defense under Spagnuolo has had complementary pressure, and right now that's the missing piece. It's fixable, but it will cost draft resources or cap space. Third, refine the offensive structure around Mahomes' current stage. He's still elite, but you're now in the era where you build systems that extend his prime instead of assuming he can transcend chaos around him. That means speed at receiver, reliable hands on third down, and a scheme that plays to rhythm, not desperation. For engagement, should the Chiefs spend their first pick on offensive line or pass rusher? Comment OL or Edge and tell us why. And while you're dropping your vote, tap like and subscribe to help the channel push towards 6,000 subscribers and keep daily Chiefs content coming. So here's the real question every Chiefs fan is asking right now. Is this version of the Kansas City Chiefs still capable of making a run, or is this the year everything finally catches up with them? Let's break it down honestly, without the panic, without the rose-colored glasses, and without pretending this team hasn't shown real cracks. First, yes, this is fixable. Not perfect, not instant, and not without pain, but it's fixable. The reason is simple. When you still have Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and a defense that, even with its issues, can still string together elite stretches, you always have a chance. That's not blind hope, that's reality. NFL seasons swing fast. Momentum changes in a single Sunday. One clean game, one statement win, and suddenly the tone around this team looks completely different. But there's also a harsh truth. Nothing will change unless Kansas City decides to change itself. This is not the same version of the team that powered through 2018 to 2023 with overwhelming talent. This is a transition roster. Older in key spots, younger in others, thinner than usual in the trenches, and carrying more pressure than any team in the league. The Chiefs aren't broken, they're strained, and right now, they're playing like a team that feels the weight of every mistake. The good news is that the core identity is still there. When Mahomes plays in rhythm, the offense moves. When the defensive front wins early downs, Spagnuolo's pressure looks suffocate quarterbacks. When the team avoids penalties, they control the tempo instead of chasing it. None of that requires reinventing the wheel. It just requires consistency, and that's something this coaching staff has delivered for a decade. The bigger question is whether the Chiefs can stabilize quickly enough to matter in the AFC playoff picture. That will depend heavily on how fast the offensive line can get healthy and how well the defense adjusts to the recent breakdowns. The Cowboys game was ugly, but it also highlighted exactly what needs fixing. Sometimes the worst games give you the clearest roadmap. So here's the outlook. Kansas City isn't out of the fight. They're in a valley, not a collapse. But if they want to climb out, they need to simplify, execute, and play complementary football. Do that, and this team still has the pieces to punch its ticket into January. And once you're in, you have Mahomes. And that alone keeps every door unlocked. For engagement, do you still believe this Chiefs team can make the playoffs? Comment yes or no, and tell me your confidence. Level from 1 to 10. And if you want daily no-nonsense Chiefs coverage, hit like and subscribe to help us push towards 6,000 subscribers. Stay locked with Total Chiefs News. Hail Chiefs!